Hi everybody, and welcome back to F and White People. As always, I'm Harry.
I'm Brandy.
And today, we are going to be talking about something that just kind of grinds my gears. And this is that Christian nationalist movement. Because these people are not fucking Christians. And I'm going to break down, or I'm going to do my best to break down how they're not Christians. And this idea came to me because I was pondering, as I do, about Star Wars, and it dawned on me that the Jedi Order is responsible for all the bad shit that has happened in the galaxy far, far away. Without the Jedi Order, the Sith would not have been discovered, the species, and then the Jedi that discovered them would not have been corrupted, and then started the Sith Order, that basically tangent brought me to the conclusion that those that generally fly the flag of righteousness end up doing the most evil things ever.
They end up doing the most damage too.
In the name of good and light and righteousness. Which, as we all know, the Jedi Order and the Sith Order is basically a religion.
Very much so. Like, they don't necessarily have a god in the Jedi Order, but it's very
the
much...
Force is their god.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, they worship the Force. A bunch of tiny little metachlorians. Which, thanks for ruining the magic, Lucas. But, so, it got me on this whole tangent of when people fly flags of righteousness in the name of good, they end up committing very awful acts of evil. And my examples are as follows. 1. The Crusades. 2. The Spanish Inquisition. 3. Hitler. And I'm just going to leave those right there. 1. The Holy Crusades went around and caused war, and the whole purpose of it was to convert the non-believers. And in the process of converting the non-believers, they burned, they raped, they pillaged, they committed atrocities all across the areas that they just, wherever they went. Hundreds of thousands of pagans or whatever religion that they were that didn't convert, that decided to die free or not be enslaved. I mean, just because you got a God on your side doesn't mean torturing people into becoming followers is not evil. Am I wrong?
Hmm?
I mean, the Spanish Inquisition. What they did to the Jews. Talquemada. What do you say?
I mean...
The Inquisition. Let's begin the Inquisition. Look out, Sam.
Christians were on the wrong side of history in a lot of areas. There were Christian movements that were pro-slavery. There were Christian movements that were pro-fucking Holocaust, who didn't think that we should get involved in World War II.
I mean, the Civil War, the Confederacy was their God-given right.
Yeah.
To own slaves.
Yeah, because it protects.
Because in the Bible.
In the Bible, it does say that you can own slaves. It tries to make that into a...
And hell, in the Bible it says that those of darker skin are the ones that are meant to be slaves.
Do you know where it says that?
I will look that up right now. Actually, well, I don't want to lose my spot about another. Here we go. Now let's see.
Well, while you're looking that up.
Oh, I am corrected. Because it was a misinterpretation.
Okay.
Used to support racism and justify slavery. So I sit corrected. I don't stand because I am sitting. But elaboration, it says, all right, so Genesis chapter 9, verse 20 through 27. This passage describes Noah cursing Canaan, not Ham, and the curse is about being a servant to his brothers, not about skin color or a justification for slavery based on race.
But that's used today still by certain groups of people who consider themselves Christians, namely the KKK, to justify hatred towards, people of color. Especially black people, but really all people of color.
So no, I am wrong, and I will admit that I was wrong. And I guess I fell victim to misinformation. So there, no, I admit to it. So no, your Bible is wrong, white people. Because I was always raised to believe that in the Bible.
I was raised to believe that too, but I was raised by people who know people in the KKK, so.
So do I. So.
Of course they interpreted it that way. Because I do think that there's a lot in the Bible that's open to interpretation, and
well, there's a lot in the Bible that also people just misinterpret simply to justify their evil acts.
Yes, which is basically what I was saying about like how the KKK to this day uses that to justify hatred towards people of color, mostly black people, but really all people of color. They're not exactly, okay with Latinos or Hispanics or.
I wonder if the Bible was changed like it has been numerous times to put that in there, that those with darker skin are meant to be slaves, but then they had to take it out again when the missionaries went to Africa, and that's why we have a African American version of the Bible.
Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Because the original Bible is written in several languages.
Also, 40 years after the events of fucking Jesus, nobody that actually was there.
At the earliest 40 years after the.
Yeah. Who wrote it, the people who wrote the Bible weren't even there during the events.
Yeah. So.
And then, we.
So who knows? Maybe it was in the original version, and then it was taken out for political reasons, and then put back in, and then taken back out, and who fucking knows?
Well, we also know that homosexuality wasn't actually mentioned in the Bible until 1948, and the original verse of "Thou shalt not lay with a man like they laid with a woman." The original text was "Thou shalt not lay with a boy." And that's because during the Roman occupation, as we all know, the Greeks and the Romans loved their little boys, and the Hebrews were like, we're not cool with this. So they put in Leviticus, thou shalt not lay with a boy as thou lays with a woman. And then they changed it, thou shalt not lay with a man.
Yeah, but originally it was about
Fucking little boys.
Yeah, originally it was like don't fuck little boys.
Not fuck children.
Yeah, it was very specific about don't fuck little boys. You can fuck a little girl.
Yeah. Even though they also forget that the whole story of the brotherly love. Come on. Come on. Once you read that and look into that story, those are two dudes fucking. Okay? What's it? David and... Or was it King David that was against it? Oh no, but that whole story. I think it was King Solomon's son, David, who they brought in somebody. I can't remember who it was. And then David and the other dude started, because in the story it was like, I love him. They're like, as a brother, no. David.
There's a lot in the Bible that's been misinterpreted, or no, I'm not even going to say misinterpreted, because maybe it's being interpreted properly. Like, who knows with ancient texts that have been translated and retranslated and altered and changed. The main Bible that they use in the South, right? The one that we probably both grew up on is the King James Version of the Bible, which is named after the dude who fucking changed the Bible.
So he can get a divorce.
So he could get a divorce.
Yeah. So that the Church of England would not dethrone him.
Yep.
Because the only way that you could marry someone new before that was if your spouse died.
Yep.
So let's get back to the whole flying flags of righteousness. Because the Crusades were all about conversion.
And the thing is, if you follow the Old Testament and not the New Testament, then you're not a fucking Christian, you're a Jewish person.
Which you're more in line with Jesus.
Well, you're not even a Jewish person, you're like a fifth of a Jew, because the Jewish people actually follow, I want to say 5 books. The Old Testament is like one book of what they believe in. Because I know of 2 books, but I think there's like 5.
And if you want to follow the teachings of Jesus, lest we forget Jesus was a Jew, so you need to follow, whatever it is that Jesus learned from the temple.
And
which was a lot of Jewish fucking
Jesus
scripture.
was born Jewish, yes. He was born Jewish. You can't say that he was a Jew later in life because he created his own religion, which obviously means he wasn't
I don't
really...
think he created a religion. I think he created a political movement.
Either way, I think you have to, in later life, say that he was, half Jewish. Because he was teaching against a lot of things that the Jewish people believed in. There's a lot in the New Testament that contradicts the Old Testament.
I think a lot of what contradicts...
But Jesus said we shouldn't charge interest on loans.
Yeah?
So I would like to see...
You know what Jesus did? Jesus fought against capitalism.
He really did.
He was the first socialist.
He was against the Pharisees.
He was against the Roman occupation.
He was against the Roman occupation.
He was against the Hebrews, the Jews.
He was against... He didn't think...
Interest or...
He didn't think that we should be charging interest on loans. He thought that was usury. And usury is a sin.
He fought against basically property ownership.
So all these credit card companies, if you
banks, credit cards, capitalism in general.
All of that goes against Christianity.
All of that goes against Jesus.
Yes, which Jesus is the core of Christianity.
Well, I think he's the mascot for Christianity. Because I think if Jesus was ever to come back, even though he wasn't crucified on a boomerang, I think he would look at what's happening in his name and go, what the fuck are y'all people doing? Because this isn't what I died for. I didn't take an ass whooping for this. Because what y'all are doing is nothing about what I was fucking talking about. And let's talk about a hot topic. Immigrants.
Oh yeah, Jesus said to love thy neighbor, not to lock your neighbor up and separate them from their kids and deport them to countries that they didn't even come from.
Here's the thing. The whole talk about immigrants is actually something that was before Jesus. Because in Exodus 22 and 21, and 23 and 9, explicitly forbid mistreating or oppressing foreigners, reminding the Israelites of their own history as immigrants.
Yes.
So, as a nation, we should remember our own history as immigrants, and seeing how we stole this land, and have been immigrants, lest we forget that fucking copper lady with the golden torch and the fucking halo on her head with Ellis Island. And then in Leviticus 19 verse 33 through 34 and 19:34 emphasize that foreigners should be treated as native born, loved as themselves, and not be wronged.
Yeah.
Also, let us not forget that all the immigrants, before we, how many of the immigrants that were pushing back down south did their tribes people, before the Europeans came over and started just laying waste, when we were pushing them on reservations? How many of those tribes didn't say fuck it and go south into Mexico and shit?
How many didn't?
Now, how many did?
I'm not entirely sure.
I would say a lot.
I would say a lot. I'm not entirely sure of the number, but
so
yeah.
all those people, there's a good chance that they have blood that belongs to the indigenous people that were here, until the Europeans came along and went, no, this land's ours now, because we have better weapons, and we have, blankets that contain smallpox, and we have, psychological warfare and shit. So there's a good chance that a lot of the people that are coming back north were here before us.
And you got to think also, on another hot topic, because one thing that, you can't be MAGA and be a Christian. You can't. The two things are opposed.
No, because, Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
Donald Trump is the Antichrist. But
he's the golden calf.
Everything that he preaches...
Well, he's the orange cow.
Everything that he says goes against not modern Christianity, but goes against the Bible. Persecute the immigrant. Well, that's not what Jesus said to do. And you cannot follow the Old Testament and still be a Christian. I believe that, because you're supposed to follow Jesus and Jesus' teachings. So if you just stick to the New Testament, then that's what you're supposed to do as a Christian. You're supposed to study the Old, but stick to the New, because Jesus came and made all things clean, all things new and clean again.
Right here in Malachi, chapter 3, verse 5, indicates that God will testify against those who oppress the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow.
But that's Old Testament.
Malachi?
Yes.
Well, as we all know, fucking Bible thumpers love to quote fucking Old Testament. Except the parts where they don't...
don't wear mixed clothing, don't eat shellfish.
Don't eat pork.
Don't eat pork.
Basically don't eat anything with a cloven hoof.
Yeah.
Which Leviticus is a crazy book.
So is Deuteronomy, and so is Numbers.
The thing I love about Leviticus is it starts basically out as a cookbook.
It does.
And then it ends with, so much about like, thou shalt not lay with a boy, and all kinds of just sexual shit. And so my idea, my theory, low T, is this. It was some dude that was like cooking and drinking at the same time. In the beginning, it was talking about how you're supposed to properly sacrifice things, this, that, and the other. And then he got a little bit too much in the sauce, and then his emotions started coming out. And I'm pretty sure he was gay. He's like, damn it, Steve, you broke my heart. Over here fucking little boys. Thou shalt not lay with a boy. He fell in love with a Roman. Damn it, Stefan. Yeah, I'm convinced also there's a lot of people out there whose name is Steve or Steven or anything like that. Yeah, you're gay. There's a good chance you're gay.
If your name is Steven?
Yes, or Steve.
I don't think that's true, Harry.
Fun fact. What name has the most, out of all the gay guys, what name is number one?
What?
Matt.
Did you read that somewhere?
So if your name is Matt, sorry.
We're not sorry, because there's nothing wrong with being gay.
No, be your gay self. Slam it up.
Speaking of gay people, though, Jesus would actually be on the side of the gay people and the transgender people, and I can prove this through the Bible. Because Jesus said to love your neighbor, even the least of these, which means like even the people who you think go against God, even people that you think, are unworthy, you should love. And hating people is the opposite of love. Taking away their rights is the opposite of love. And he hung out with fucking prostitutes.
Well, Jesus also...
And criminals.
Jesus also understood that those that were less fortunate and those that were mistreated the most needed the most love.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Like, if you think that it goes against the Bible for someone to be transgender, that's fine. You can have that belief.
Your belief is wrong.
Well, I'm not going to say that, because maybe your belief is, well, I don't believe in Christianity, but maybe that is the correct interpretation of Christianity. I don't know. But I do know that Jesus said, even if they are doing something that goes against the Bible, you're still supposed to love them and treat them with respect. And taking away their rights and not letting them play basketball is fucking, like, ridiculous, A. But B, like, just let people pee. Trying to dictate who goes to what bathroom. Believe me, if someone looks like you, Harry, and people you've seen, like the little image that I put up of me and Harry, the little animation of me and Harry, that's basically what he looks like in real life, right? Like he's a 6 foot tall, bald, gray bearded, white dude who looks like he would be not a bro, but like a good old boy.
Oh yeah, I have often been confused by Southerners as one of those.
But you look like the very definition of the stereotypical man. You look very, quote unquote, masculine, right? With your bald head and your big gray beard,
big bushy beard,
and your muscles and like the shape of your body.
And my demeanor.
You look, well, but that's, you look very, the stereotypical definition of masculine. Someone who looks like you, I don't care what genitals you were born with, does not belong in the bathroom with someone who looks like me.
Well, I also think that
I don't want
the whole bathroom thing.
Let people be.
Yeah. Also,
we should just have we have shared bathrooms at home, right? Like everyone who uses my bathroom, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, it's a one stall bathroom.
Also, well, I also think that people just need to fucking be, more in control of themselves. And when you go into a bathroom, you're doing one of two things: either pissing or shitting.
Just go in there to
do your thing.
Do your thing.
I don't think it really should concern anybody.
No, because
in a perfect world, if I walked into a bathroom and I'm taking a piss, and then all of a sudden a woman walks in to go to the stall to take a piss, there should be no fucking problem.
So I disagree with you, and here's why.
I say in a perfect world.
Yes, in a perfect world, yes. Not a trans man, not a trans woman. What a Southern would define a trans man is a man, but what a Southern what a good old boy would define as a man, men deserve men, because they don't recognize trans people as people.
Some of them do. I'm a good old boy. I'm not a good old boy, but I'm a good old boy.
But I don't want men in the bathroom with me, because as a sexual assault survivor,
and that's why I say in the perfect world.
I don't want men in my bathroom. But you know what? A trans man is a man. I don't think a trans man should be in the women's bathroom. But what they want, what the maggots want, is trans men in the bathroom with me. And see, that triggers me, because I look up and I see a man walking in the bathroom, and I'm like, are you here to hurt me?
Well, also, here's the thing, though. And sometimes it does happen. You got a father with a daughter. That daughter's got to go to the bathroom.
This is why I think we need just one bathroom for everybody.
There has been often times where a father will walk into the woman's bathroom with his daughter and go, I'm here to let my daughter use the bathroom. And more often than not, the women are like, okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm more comfortable seeing a man walk in with a woman, either a woman in a wheelchair who needs help, or a woman who is, got an IDD, or a child.
Well, this also just straight up boils down to fucking men need to be better in fucking control of goddamn bullshit.
I don't think the bathroom is the problem, is my point. I think that men, predominantly men, women can be sexual predators too, but predominantly men, being sexual predators is the problem. And if we just had one bathroom for all people, then I think that would kind of solve that problem, because you would have multiple stalls, right? Because most of your public bathrooms have more than one stall. If it only has one stall, then there's no problem. There's just one person in there anyway. But multiple stall bathrooms, if it's just one bathroom for everybody, then you're going to have men and women in there, which means there's a wider mix of both. So people are more safe, because it's not just two people in there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to be alone in a bathroom with just a man.
And then that also boils down to the,
But I don't think that's trans men's problem. I don't think that's trans women's problem. I think that's my problem.
Yes, it is your problem.
Yeah, that's my problem.
And see, here's the thing. You really can't push your problems on other people.
That's why I'm saying we just need one bathroom for all people.
But we're getting off topic.
It's not off topic, because Jesus would agree with me.
And I will also say, and I will say this right now, I don't give a fuck. I don't think that Jesus was that good of a carpenter. Simply because if he was a good carpenter and an artisan of his work, he'd have never really got involved in all the other bullshit because he would have not had time or the mindset, or his mindset would have been too involved in his art and his work.
You're a carpenter and you get involved in the other bullshit.
Yeah, and I'm not a good one.
I think you're a good carpenter.
I'm not a carpenter, I'm a woodworker.
I think you're a good one.
No, I'm decent. I'm still amateur. So, but, like all the other great artisans out there, minus the writers, the poets, the authors, minus those, all your great artisans, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, all of them, their political and movement, you don't hear about it because they were too wrapped up in their own artisan work. I think Jesus was like, why the fuck am I making chairs? We sit on the floor. I don't want a job. I don't want to be
a stand-up philosopher.
I want to be a bullshit artist. But I'm not a Christian. I doubt I ever will be. I'm not religious at all. I do, and the whole, like, once you strip away the comparisons of Jesus to other religions, the whole Christianity comparisons to other religions, because, you know, Jesus being, for one, Jesus wasn't born fucking December 25th. Science has proven that.
Yeah, if he was born on December 25th, he more likely would have died. Because the winters in that area, especially fucking being born in the damn manger, staying overnight in a manger, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cold and frigid and fucking atrocious. I don't care how many goddamn wise men and angels show up. Once you take away the magical aspects of it, his philosophy, I agree with.
Which is basically just Jesus' philosophy can be boiled down to the golden fucking rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Jesus and Will Wheaton have a lot in common with their whole philosophies, which is don't be a dick.
And I agree with that, right? Like, I think that I don't think Jesus, the historical Jesus, I don't think he was a bad guy. Like, if he really thought that he was the Son of God, then I think he was maybe a little delusional. The same way the people would be delusional now if they said they were the Son of God. Like, I don't understand how one guy, millennia ago, is somehow really the Son of God, but then the guy that if I go out and assess someone, like that's because I'm a mental health specialist, a mobile crisis specialist. I work in the mental health field. So if I go out and assess someone and they say that they're the Son of God, then I'm supposed to take that as an illusion. But this one guy who said it a millennia ago,
this one black guy, let's face it,
because Jesus would have been black,
bronze of skin, wool of hair, and Middle Eastern people, they don't really have wool of hair. Their hair is more, silky smooth.
Well, we don't know what it would have been like a millennia ago, but...
Oh, this is true. But it does say bronze of skin, which means he was darker. Jesus was a darky, as Uncle Ruckus would say.
He would have been...
Well, no, Uncle Ruckus would say that he was blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Why Jesus?
But the whole Jesus is blonde-haired, blue-eyed just fucking floors me, because he would have really stuck out.
Oh, the Romans would have been like, yes, my Führer. They would have saluted him.
Well, even the Romans wouldn't have had blonde hair and blue eyes.
No.
So that's very confusing. Like,
that's the Hitler. And once again, we get back to, the whole flying flags of righteousness in the name of good. Hitler's cause was, to eradicate the Jews because of what they did to Jesus. Let's eradicate the quote-unquote the chosen ones.
Well, he didn't want to do it because of what they did to Jesus. He blamed them for the downfall of German society after World War
also, fucking Hitler had a goddamn coven of Christian witches that grew their hair out so long that it touched the floor so that they can talk, because they believed they could talk to the goddamn God and the universe and all that shit.
Hitler was
And he was
crazy.
looking for religious relics and shit, mostly Christian relics, like the spear that pierced Jesus' side and all kinds of shit. He wanted all the fucking Christian artifacts and whatnot. Hitler was a fucking Christian nationalist.
He was a Christian nationalist. He was a Christian. He thought that everyone should be a Christian. And he was very much but he was also very into the occult. Which, he wasn't a very good Christian. Because he was very into the occult.
I have yet, there are very few Christians that I've met that are actually good Christians.
I know one.
I know a couple.
I only know one.
I don't. Debbie and Neil.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry. That's two people. I counted them as one. But they are two separate people.
That preacher that I introduced to you at Toadie's concert.
I don't know him personally, so I can't say that, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, he actually got fired from the church because of his kind of more liberal views of the world and whatnot. And Greg, I think his name was, yeah. Because I remember going, taking my aunt to church and whatnot, and then one day after church I was like, yeah, I'm kind of more interested in the Egyptian mythos and shit like that, where all that spawned from. And he's like, oh yeah, my wife would love to talk to you. Here's a book that you'd be in, you'd love. And his wife is like, oh yeah, no, I don't know if you know about Horus, the sun god, but basically, yeah, he's kind of the godfather Jesus. What? Yeah, no, he was born of Immaculate Conception, born in December, had 12 disciples, and was baptized, and he was also put to death and didn't resurrect for 3 days. Yeah, he stayed dead for 3 days. It wasn't, I'll die on Friday afternoon and come back Sunday morning, so he technically wasn't really dead for 3 days, but he was dead for 3 days. Oh! What the fuck? And I think because the whole, talk about Jesus and everything, and the writings and teachings of him wasn't written until the earliest of 40 years after, there's a lot of telephone gaming happening.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was all oral stories being told. And as we all know, when you tell a story, every time you tell that story, it gets more grandiose.
It doesn't always get more grandiose, but it does always get different. It always changes.
And then when somebody else, if I told you that I caught a fish, I caught a foot-long fish, all of a sudden that fish, when you're telling, oh, Harry caught a big old fish. Well, how big was it? Oh, I think it was 16 inches. And then the next person, I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so told me that so-and-so caught this fish. Well, how big was the fish? It was 20 inches. And it's to sensationalize that fish and how big it was.
That definitely happens. It doesn't always happen, but it always changes.
And
right?
well, and I think
because people don't have perfect recall.
no, and I think when those stories are told over and over and over again for 40 fucking years, earliest that we know, they're gonna get, and especially when you're still in an area in the Middle East where you still have a lot of outside influence, like the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians, and you still have those religions floating around, and you're pulling from those as well, because you hear about someone being put to death, crucified or whatnot, and then they're rising back up, or so-and-so was born of immaculate conception, but I really need to hype up this guy over here, Jesus.
Well, it's not even necessarily that cynical, right? So, like, people often will hear two stories and then conflate those two stories. They'll combine them together to make one story, and they won't do it on purpose. It's just that, like, you hear about this one guy who was dead for 3 days, and then you hear about this other guy who, like, healed the lame, and you're like, you hear those two stories, and in the telling of that over and over and over again, those two stories become one story, to which that becomes one person, to then there was one person who died for 3 days and healed the lame.
Yeah, and then, like, as all good stories do, there's a lot of crossover from, like, yeah, you just said, you hear one thing that somebody tells you, and then somebody comes along and tells you about this other guy that does something, and yeah, you start crossing over, and you forget that there's two separate beings, and then next thing you know, we got this superhuman that walks on water, heals the lame, feeds people with just a couple loaves and fishes, and
turns water into wine,
and fights the devil, and he's actually God himself.
Yep.
But no, it was just some black dude that was tired of the fucking inequality that was happening with the transfer of wealth, and decided to fucking get a bunch of people together and go, hey, you need to change this shit.
Small aside, but that's one of the reasons why Life of Brian is one of my favorite movies, because it shows, like, in a very comedic, flying circus kind of way.
Which is also
Monty Python.
There we go. We finally fucking got there. Jesus. It's like having an orgasm with you. It takes fucking forever to get there.
In a very flying circus kind of Monty Python way, shows...
But I'm not the prophet!
But I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. The whole way through that movie, he's like, I'm not the Messiah. And people are like, no, you're the Messiah. And convince other people that he's the Messiah. When he's like, I'm not the Messiah. Why are you following me?
Life of Brian, it was good. It wasn't my favorite.
It's my favorite. I love Life of Brian.
The Meaning of Life is my favorite.
That is a good second.
But yeah, no, Christian nationalists today were tricked by their own devil. And it has poor posture, puts orange spray on its skin, has an awful comb over, fakes that it got shot, lies out its ass.
I'm normally not a conspiracy theorist, but...
This is not a conspiracy. There was a Pulitzer fucking prize-winning photo award where it shows where the fucking bullet was. They captured the bullet in motion.
I'm not normally a conspiracy theorist.
This is not a conspiracy theory.
And there are people who say that's a conspiracy theory, but ears don't grow back. We are not lizards. We don't grow back appendages.
And if you get shot with a bullet
A high velocity.
And it was an AR-15 from my understanding. I don't care if it is a 2.23 or a 5.5, whatever. If it hits your ear,
it's going to do damage.
It's going to do a lot of damage, and you're going to lose hearing in that ear. Because the displacement of air as it passes that close to your ear, now, I don't know if you know this, but there are snipers, when they use a 50 cal rifle, they don't actually have to hit the target for it to kill them. If they can get that bullet just to pass right by their head, the displacement of air fucking does a severe amount of fucking damage. Because an object moving that fast moves so much fucking air, it creates such a shockwave and shit that it just fucks them up. Were you looking it up?
No, I was looking at other things that Jesus taught that apparently the MAGA do not believe.
Let's talk about immigration. Well, we talked about immigration already a little bit. What else is?
The way they treat the poor.
I mean,
a lot of them are poor, but the way they treat the poor. It's like, I'm not that poor. There's the deserving poor and then the not deserving poor. But to Jesus, there was just the poor. And you served the poor.
MAGA is just a cult.
Because they were needy. And you helped those in need. And the whole parable of the Good Samaritan is that you help those who are in need, regardless of their social background. And I would say that Jesus would be on board with regardless of their political leanings. Right? Like, you would help.
I would say Jesus was a liberal, but I would definitely say he was a progressive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I have issues with liberals.
I know you do.
I think they're too weak.
I mean, I think our party as a whole is weak.
I think liberals are weak as shit. This whole we want to take the higher ground. Fuck you. Oh, we should turn the other cheek. No.
Because because I don't.
Turn the other cheek only applies when somebody's trying to test your faith. When somebody's trying to turn your faith, that's when you turn the other cheek. That's what that verse means.
Is it now?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know that you're wrong or right. I don't remember that one. I remember turning the other cheek, obviously, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I read the Bible.
Because I believe oftentimes, because Old Testament says eye for an eye. New Testament says turn the other cheek. But I think that it has to do with one's faith. Instead of attacking somebody, getting vengeance for those that seek to turn you against your faith, you just turn the other cheek and say, no, you're not worth my time or my energy. I know where my faith is. It's not a reference to violence if someone's attacking you. I think if somebody's attacking you, you fucking attack back. You don't...
No, so you're wrong. Turn the other cheek was a way to non-violently resist evil and overcome it with love. He emphasized not retaliating against those who wronged them, but instead responding with non-retaliation. So if someone has wronged you, you're not supposed to retaliate. You're supposed to turn the other cheek.
Yeah, I think we've gone past that point.
Well, but see, that's the thing. You and I don't have to live by Christian ideals. we don't have to live by what Jesus taught because we're not Christians.
Yeah, no.
You know, we're talking about Christianity today a lot because the topic of conversation is these people who say they're Christian who aren't following fucking Jesus' teachings, which apparently you and I, two fucking atheists, know better than they do.
And probably follow the teachings of Jesus more than they do.
I would say I probably follow more of Jesus' teachings than the average Christian I know.
Yeah. The only difference is at the end of the day, we're not going to be like, all right, we're going to get into the kingdom of heaven. Yay for us. At the end of the day, we're like,
yeah,
what good did we leave on this planet?
I don't do good because I think that I have to do good to get into heaven. I do good because I think that doing good is the right thing to do. Right? Like if someone came to our door and was like, hey, you know, like why do we throw a party every year to raise money for homeless people? Because I think that homelessness is a scourge upon the earth. I don't think that the homeless people is the problem. I think that homelessness is the problem. And I want to help people who are homeless. I think it's the right thing to do.
So yeah,
so I do it. And I don't expect rewards. I don't want gratitude. I don't want I just want to help people because it's just I think that's what we were placed on the world on this earth to do.
And to clarify, what we do is every year we ask a bunch of our friends, and we also contribute as well, and we get gift cards for Walmart and stuff. Because when we first started, we were doing gift cards, food gift cards for restaurants and stuff. And while we were out giving them, we were talking to the homeless, and we were like, well, here's a gift card for Burger King or something like that, and somebody slipped in a couple Walmart gift cards, and at first we were like, well, we wanted gift cards for restaurants and stuff. And we're like, oh, well, we just bought a gift card for Walmart. And then we handed one out, and then the homeless person was like, oh no, these are better because at Walmart, not only can we get food, but we can get socks. Yeah. And it dawned on us, duh.
Yeah, and the $20 or the $10 or whatever it is at Walmart is going to go a lot further than the $10 at McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh fuck, you can barely get a goddamn meal. Once taxes are included, you can't get a meal.
Off the value menu, but only off the value menu.
Yeah, the value menu is not much of a fucking value anymore.
It's not. It's not exactly a lot of food. It's not gonna it's still gonna last you one meal. Whereas $10 at Walmart will last you probably more than one meal, especially if you go like most homeless people probably would with very cheap options like ramen.
Well, not even ramen because they can't cook ramen.
No. A lot of you can have those battery powered hot pots, which I've seen a lot of homeless around here in their encampments have in their possessions.
Also, they can buy if they need.
Also, you can eat ramen raw.
Well, yeah, and I did as a kid, but you can also buy canned meat, like Vienna sausages and stuff.
Yeah, you can buy very cheap options.
Yeah, and then you can turn around and be like, oh, I don't have any socks. While I'm here, let me get a pair of socks.
Yeah, or my socks have holes in them, and now it's winter, and I need a new socks.
And then what I also discovered, because there was a guy out there that needed water, and I was going to buy a thing of water, multiple bottles and stuff, and I think you pointed out that's going to be kind of hard to carry.
Yeah.
So I bought a gallon with a handle.
Because that way you can lash it onto something.
Yeah, you can just hook it on your belt, and then you can just refill that gallon bottle.
Yep.
You gotta think ergonomics.
And
utilitarian.
But it's things like that again, and I don't want credit for it because I don't think I think it's just the right thing to do. You just help people, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't be out there helping people to expect a reward in a kingdom that good chance, because at the end of their life they went, oh, I'm sorry, now house the very people that committed evil atrocities on this planet. I mean, all the people that ever committed anything bad on this planet, whether it be war crimes or touching little kids and anything, at the end of the day, if they went, I'm sorry, Jesus, please forgive me, and you're forgiven, you don't have to go to hell to pay for your crimes and your sins. You're allowed into the kingdom of heaven to sit with God and blah, blah, blah. But yet, the unbaptized, or the ones that said, no, fuck this nonsense, because you might possibly be there, or you let me down to begin with, Jesus and God, and allowed this shit to happen to me. Oh, now I gotta sit in hell?
Which is one of the reasons why, like, there are a lot of reasons why I'm an atheist, but one of the reasons, one was the fact that I read the Bible, and I realized that it was
contradiction after contradiction.
Contradiction after contradiction after contradiction, and also very fucking moral. It went against my personal moral system. Like, if you're raped in the country, then it's rape because no one would have heard you, but if you're raped in the city, then it's not rape because, like, you didn't scream loud enough to get, like, help. So, like, you aren't really raped. Like, that doesn't, like, count.
But also at the same time, if you rape a woman,
slavery is okay.
It is then your responsibility to take on that woman, or you could just.
Yeah, you have to, like, you're supposed to marry your rapist.
Yeah.
Like, I'm also a rape survivor, and I'm like, fuck that, because.
You don't want to marry. You don't want to marry your uncle.
I don't want to marry my uncle. I don't want to marry the person who raped me. So.
Or.
Fuck that noise.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I just, and I'm pretty sure our some of the, well, not, I'm pretty sure there are some listeners out there who can be like, oh, I'm tired of hearing this. Guess what, Buttercup? That's a hot topic for us. And so the one commenter out there that said, oh, you guys just like hearing yourself talk. What do you think every podcast, every radio personality, every voice-inspired industry person have in common?
They like to hear themselves talk.
They like to hear themselves fucking talk. If they didn't, you wouldn't have radio shows. You wouldn't have podcasts. You wouldn't have fucking news outlets. You wouldn't have anything where someone fucking talks. Because anybody who's out there publicly talking loves to hear themselves talk. You wouldn't have fucking politicians. You wouldn't have preachers. You wouldn't have anybody out there
who talks for a living.
Who talks for a fucking living.
Because everyone who talks for a living does it because they like to talk. Like, that's the common fucking denominator. Like, you wouldn't talk for a living if you hated to talk.
So if you sit here and say that, oh, these people are the only, I don't like them because they're just people who like to hear themselves talk, but turn around and say you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, guess what Joe Rogan does?
He likes to hear himself talk.
Because he likes to hear himself fucking talk. The only difference is he spouts the bullshit sometimes. Here lately, he's kind of turning on some of the shit that he's been saying, even though, Joe, too little too late, bud.
I mean, I'll give him credit when he takes down the MAGA movement. If he takes it down, then I'll give him credit for that. But until then, like, sorry, buddy, you've done a lot of damage.
But then
you've come a long way since Fear Factor, buddy.
And then, like, when he's just talking about, like, bears and gorillas and shit, when he's talking about how massive these creatures are and the power and shit that they have, you think he does that because he wants to have you feel whatever it is? No, he does it because he fucking wants to talk about it.
I mean, I think it's a combination of both. Like, I do this podcast because I want other people to interact with it, and I want other people's opinions and their thoughts, and, you know, I want them to think of things in a new light if they disagree with us, and if they agree with us, and I want them to, like, you know.
A lot of the people that interact with us, especially in the old TikToks, is they're very much like opposition.
That's actually taking a turn lately. Like, we've started to get more and more. They're like, you guys are onto something, or I agree with you, or no, that's right. Although there was this one dude who's been arguing with me about the tax percentage that one percenters pay, and he read it wrong because he's talking about how one percenters pay 40% in income tax. I'm like, no, they make up 40% of the income taxes, which does not mean they pay a 40% marginal tax rate. They pay about 26.1 marginal tax rate.
Yeah, and also Warren Buffett, who sits in the fucking 0.1% of the 1%, has come out and say that he pays less in income taxes than his fucking secretary does.
Because of tax loops. Yes, because he doesn't, and that's the point, is that they don't pay, and it was just way off topic, but it goes back to usury, I guess, which is on topic. They don't pay, most of Warren Buffett's income isn't taxable income. It's not from
capital gains.
It's capital gains. It's not from a job, which is taxed totally differently than capital gains. Capital gains is included in income tax, but capital gains is taxed at such a low fucking rate that when you look at their marginal tax rate for all the income that they make, they pay way less than 26.1% on all of their taxes. When you look at all of their income, that is taxed.
And the income tax, when it was first created, was an income tax on corporations, not on fucking individuals.
But the actual tax rate for someone at the top 1% is 26.1% on average.
And then, for some reason, somehow the government got involved with the IRS and went, no, just go ahead and slap that income tax on the individuals. And the IRS was like, well, technically that's against the law. And the government said, well, we don't really care. And then they were like, they're not going to notice. And if they do, I mean, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Strike? Ha! Create unions? Ha! We'll pay off the fucking unions.
I do think we need a national strike in this country.
Yes.
A day where everybody just refuses to go to work.
Except
for, I think that applies to everyone except certain institutions where I think like lives would be lost.
In the medical field, no. But in the general labor force,
yeah. Well, I don't think firefighters can just refuse to go to work.
Social workers. And when I say social workers, I mean cops, I mean firefighters, ambulance. Well, even though I think the cops should go on strike too. I think it would fucking send a damn message out if the cops were like, no. But the cops are now fucking basically militarized.
Like, I don't think I should be able to stay home from work. Like, I'm for a national strike, but I don't think I should be able to stay home from work. Because if I stay home from work, then there could be someone who doesn't get the help that they need and ends up committing suicide, and I would hate that.
But me being in the building materials industry.
Oh yeah, no, I think you should stay home from work. I think there should be a national strike, and you should be one of the people who doesn't go to work.
You know, if I stay home work and I don't get paid, we lose our fucking house.
Yes, but I think that to make that point, if there was a national strike, I think to make that point, it would be worth that risk.
Well, once again, therein lies the catch-22. Like, because corporations can, you know, and the banking industry is a fucking corporation. All of a sudden, if there's a national strike and these bills and shit are not getting paid, once the strike is over, and be like, oh, you missed several payments on your house.
I don't think it would take very long of a national strike.
Well, with the housing industry, you only need to miss one payment before they fucking come after your goddamn house.
That's not true. We learned that when we got our first mortgage. That's not true. There's a process, and it takes several missed payments to take your house. At least in the state of Tennessee.
Oh, I guess they changed it.
Because they don't want to take your house. Because taking your house means that they're probably going to get pennies on the dollar for your house. And in a foreclosure sale. And so they don't want to take your house. They want you to make the payments. Because if you make the payments, then you're paying your mortgage, which means you're paying that huge fucking usury fee.
Yeah, the interest fucking rate.
Yes.
Which we got lucky with our interest rate when we bought our house. But interest rates now are Yeah. I want a new house, but not with the interest rates that we got now.
Oh yeah, God no, we can't afford to buy a new house right now.
Even if the value of our house has gone up
Substantially.
60%.
Yeah.
But no, you fucking shithead goddamn Christian nationalist. Read your fucking Bible.
Read the New Testament.
Actually fucking read the fucking Old Testament too when it comes to bullshit. Like, the Old Testament is littered with how to properly treat people when it comes to immigrants and shit. And how to treat the poor.
Yeah, but you can argue that you don't have to follow that because Jesus came. So read the New Testament because Jesus said
came all over your face.
Jesus said a lot of interesting things about how to treat people.
Just read your
and none of it was mean.
Actually read your fucking Bible and don't sit there and listen to the fucking Franklin Grahams, the Joel Osteens, the Tammy Faye Bakers, the fucking televangelists out there that...
Because Jesus said, or the Bible says, I can't remember if it was Jesus or the Bible, but in general, because Jesus is in the Bible, obviously. But I can't remember if it was Jesus or the Bible in general that says it is basically, paraphrasing here, but it's basically easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get to heaven.
Yes, which is funny that you mentioned that because Marsha Blackburn actually posted a comment.
So Joel Osteen ain't going to heaven.
Marsha Blackburn and our guy, it's stated in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, because she only tweeted like the last part of the fucking... See, Matthew, chapter 19, 20 through 24. All these I have kept, the young man said, what do I still lack? Jesus answered, if you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sad because he had great wealth. Then Jesus said to his disciples, truly I tell you, it is hard for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God.
Because according to Jesus, what are you supposed to do with your wealth?
Give it away.
Supposed to give it to the needy. If you don't need it, if you have more than you need, then you have too much. And I'm glad that I'm not a Christian, because I'll be honest, if I had more than I needed, I would give some of it to the needy. I would also build a nice water park in Clarksville for everybody to visit. And make money off that bitch. And I would be rich. But I would also give some to the needy just because I believe that you should help other people. I would do a lot of helping other people if I was rich.
Yeah.
Hell, I do a lot of helping other people now and I'm not rich.
So, my message to the Christian nationalists today, y'all ain't Christians. Y'all are cultists, following a bloated cow that is far beyond any kind of means for slaughter, because you can't even do anything with it once you slaughter it.
Are those your last words on the topic?
Fuck Christian nationalists.
Fuck Christian nationalists and, trans people are people, gay people are people, immigrants are people. Let's just treat people like they're people because that's what Jesus would do. And I may not be a Christian, but I believe that Jesus, like historical Jesus, seemed like a pretty cool dude. So
that. Make sure to follow us on all the bullshit. TikTok,
follow us
Facebook.
on all the podcast places, on all the social media places. We're everywhere like herpes.
Bye. Love y'all.